You refuse the National Guard on January 6th.
Shut up.
Here's the top 8 most insane liberal moments from this week. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my freedom-loving friend. This is where we help spread the light of truth and freedom because truth conquers. Now, it's hard to whittle them down to just the top 8. But from this week, we have top 8 most insane liberal moments. There's just been a lot this week, so I'm like, I can't not talk about all this stuff. So we'll get to my favorite one at the end, but starting with a certain multiracial, accented, highly qualified presidential candidate who never ran in the primary, but 4 years ago when she did, she had less than 1% of the primary vote. Kamala Harris.
That is a decent resume, but go ahead.
Well, some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate ever to run for president.
Wow, that's already a lot to take in. We'll debrief that in a second. Let's hear what else she has to ramble about. Oh, she got one guy to stand up.
I like the some people say. Very nice, but go ahead.
I'm just speaking fact.
It might not be extremely factual, actually, Kamala. And I too came from a middle-class family, so it takes one to know one. Absolutely hilarious. Here she is on stage promoting her horrible book. Don't know where this is. It doesn't matter. But she makes the claim. You can tell this is what she thinks, but she pawns it off. Some people say I was the most qualified presidential candidate ever. Well, there's some incongruencies with her detective work there. First is the most important thing that qualifies a presidential candidate is winning the primary in order to be the will of the people to be the candidate. Like, doesn't matter what your resume says. The most important qualification is it's the will of the voters that have you in the place as the candidate for your party. So anyway, I'm taking her statement seriously, like I'm debunking it. Like, dude, actually, believe it or not, that's not right. But anyway, she was so qualified they didn't even need to run a primary. What democracy? Not in the country I'm trying to run. And of course, if she had it her way, her and Uncle Tim Walz would have men's bathrooms looking like this. Well, actually, they would be in the ladies' bathrooms, urinals installed. It would be actually very not good for them to be in men's bathrooms. By having those men in women's dresses in the women's bathrooms, that's the Kamala America. That's part of that vision. It's part of what makes her the most qualified candidate ever. Now, with number 2, let's check in with Sesame Street. How are things going there? Well, in how things are going on Sesame Street, it turns out you have a guy with a beard wearing a dress, feeding cookies to children. Are those Bill Cosby cookies? What's that guy in the dress want to do? Doesn't matter. This is on Sesame Street. And shout out to Libs of TikTok. They have been on a beautiful mission lately of exposing children's shows on Netflix, Sesame Street and this point, that have very, very aggressive LGBTQ mind control programming in it. So nonetheless, Sesame Street, it's a little more cuddly to have a Oscar the Grouch in a garbage can than it is to have a bearded man in a dress. Third most insane liberal moment of the week on the Piers Morgan show with Riley Gaines. There is a black lady saying it's impossible for black women to be racist against white women, as though racism is just a one-way street, but check it out.
Piers,
now you can
black
respond.
Women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
yes, they
capacity
can.
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they
that's
can.
Very much
and you've been racist to me?
It's impossible, she says.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You call me a...
What that is just absolutely fascinating. It's impossible for a black lady to be racist against white people. Well, they call it racist, not blackist, not Mexicanist. It's racist. But I could be wrong. She might be right. However, the world's smartest man, Elon Musk, comes in and says anyone can be racist to anyone, obviously. Well, it is obvious. And I'd imagine this lady goes on Piers Morgan, and not me, but probably some decided to be racist against black people because of how dumb she is. Now, if you think that's racist of me, calling a dumb black woman dumb, here's a dumb white woman. When black women are speaking, here's what she does. She puts tape over her mouth. Wow, how unracist of hers. And by the way, you wonder why some idiots would have the belief, I think it's impossible for a black lady to be racist against white people. This is the type of dumb white person that gets them to believe it. This dumb white person would say, yeah, it's not possible for black people to be racist against white people. Just an absolute idiot. The anti-racist movement. You can't spell anti-racist without racist. Fourth most insane liberal moment of the week, Kim Kardashian launches women's thong underwear with built-in pubic hair. You heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. Leave it to the mind of a satanic liberal. Not all liberals are satanic. This one clearly is. But leave it to the mind of a satanic liberal to think this is, I guess, considered a good idea. For more on that, let's go to CNN. Kim Kardashian's Skims lingerie range now includes thong with built-in pubic wig. Dubbed the ultimate bush, the G-string comes in a range of 12 different colors and sizes, from XX small to 4XL. You know, the bigger, the better, and the hairier, the bigger, the better. Now here's where you might lose your hope for humanity. Every version of the garment appears to be sold out online, with prospective shoppers given the opportunity to join the wait list. I don't know Kim Kardashian. What little I do know of her, I have zero respect. It's just based on merit. I wouldn't be surprised if she's just sitting there. It's like, this is a stupid idea. However, I'm going to do it ironically. I just want to see if people are gullible enough to buy this garbage because I put it out. The verdict's in. They're dumb enough to buy this garbage because she put it out. Whether she thought it was a good idea or she's just doing some market testing, like, how dumb are people? Either way, the results are in. People are pretty dumb. Fifth most insane liberal moment of the week, Katie Porter, ladies and gentlemen. You might have seen the video I did on her. The California governor who's screaming at her staffers to get the F out of the frame. She's having a meltdown on an interview. She went absolutely viral. Now she's trying to do damage control. So she did an interview about her virally horrible meltdown interview and screaming at staffers. Here's this. We'll get back to the video, but first, Chagas disease is on the rise. There is a rare bug spreading a parasite, and most people don't even know they've been bitten. Chagas disease, spread by the kissing bug, was long considered a distant problem, but cases have recently been detected in multiple states, including California, Arizona, Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. Early signs such as fever, rash, fatigue, and swollen lymph nodes can seem mild, yet over time the disease can bring severe heart damage, digestive dysfunction, and even death. But not to fear, the wellness company's Parasite Cleanse, compounded with ivermectin and mebendazole, is a solution. Ivermectin paralyzes and kills parasites by disrupting their nervous system, while mebendazole starves them by blocking glucose absorption. This potent combination delivers broad-spectrum defense against intestinal and tissue parasites. Each kit is doctor-prescribed, compounded in the United States, tested for potency, and represents the gold standard in parasite defense. Fill out a quick intake form and get a bottle of 90 capsules, 4 cycles delivered right to your door. Head to twc.health/JPReacts and use code JPReacts for $90 off plus free shipping. That's twc.health/JPReacts, code JPReacts. Now back to the video.
So this is your first time speaking publicly since the now 2 viral videos. What do you want people to know about you? And do you have the temperament to be the next governor of California?
When I look at those videos, I want people to know that I understand that I could have handled things better.
A well-written, soulless PR statement. Like the PR communication to her probably said, you need people to feel understood and you need to convey that you can do better. So she literally just said those words. It's just so shallow and PR phony. I understand people and I could do better. It's like you could do a lot better.
I think I'm known as someone who's able to handle tough questions.
Yep, a little fact check. I think I'm known as someone who can handle tough questions. No, nobody knew who you were, Katie, before these viral clips. So all that you're known for is not being able to handle tough questions, nor able to handle basic human emotions. You melt down because you can't handle them. You storm off the interview because a reporter asked you a very neutral follow-up question to something you said. So no, Katie, I realize it'd be convenient to gaslight people into saying, well, you know me as someone who can handle. No, I only heard of you because of how you cannot handle a basic question. But say more.
And I want people to know that I really value the incredible work that my staff can do. I think people who know me know I
really value the incredible work my staff. Is that why you scream at them and belittle them, and why your staff turns over at a rate 4 times faster than the average person in your position? No, you don't value your staff. Otherwise, you treat them accordingly. Words and actions are different, Katie. You're saying words, but you do actions. Actions represent who you are, because any lying idiot can say any words they want. Okay, 6th most insane liberal moment of the week. Here's a invitation. Queer resistance. Agitate, I should learn to read. Agitate, educate, organize, lecture. Armed queers. Salt Lake City ex-Mecca shooters with engraved bullets doing school shootings, mass shootings that were queer, trans, very rainbow people might say, yeah, I'd like to go to that. But perhaps they're sort of radicalizing more young people. The queer in this picture does not have good trigger finger control because their finger's on the trigger, which kind of conveys, we're ready to shoot. Armed queers. By the way, this is 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. It's going to be an hour and a half of armed queer indoctrination. It's going to be good. September 27th. Crap, I missed it. I'm not going to be able to make it now. But Salt Lake City want you to come learn about the radical history of the queer liberation movement. How historic is that? And why are we arming? By the way, the queer population is in decline. More on that in a second. But first, while we're on the topic,
I can't believe this happened. I cannot believe this. So I'm trans. I'm a hairstylist.
Shocker. I couldn't tell.
Yesterday, I was cutting this man's hair, right? And then he says, "Thank you, sir."
Yeah, I can't believe that happened either. I mean, I'm just hearing that man voice in a man body just screams woman to me. I can't understand how someone misgendered His Highness. Now for the rainbow person population in decline. It's looking like more and more kids who are trans are coincidentally just not being born, or less are being indoctrinated. By the way, so what you see here is 3 different studies showing share of students not identifying as male or female 2016 to 2025. In other words, you're trans. Peaked in 2023. That was a good year where 9%, according to the blue line, 9% of students identified as mentally ill. Wonderful. By the way, Elon bought Twitter right about here, which at very least correlates with people being able to speak openly about this topic with a dramatic drop. So according to the blue line 2025, now we're at 2% students identifying as this type of mental illness, down from 9%. That's quite a drop. So I guess they're just not being born, or they're being indoctrinated less. Netflix and Sesame Street, are you on it? All right, cool. Let's get these numbers up. In the good news column that's kind of related to that, Christian revival across the U.S., according to Fox News. Annual U.S. Bible sales are up 41% since 2022. Religion and spirituality app downloads up about 80% since 2019. And contemporary Christian music Spotify streams up 50% since 2019. Now, a huge marker in this is obviously Charlie Kirk's assassination. Hey, you evil bastards, you woke people up. I don't like what you did. However, it's working against you. And I think we're on the 7th most insane liberal moment of the week. About to get to my favorite. Here is this devilish guy, Alberto something rather. He's a CEO of Pfizer, saying the quiet part out loud while looking like a slouched moron in his tuxedo.
I truly think the best days of Pfizer are ahead of us.
Boy, that sounds promising. The best days of Pfizer are ahead of us. Does that mean you're curing anything? By the way, in all of Pfizer's existence, it's never cured one disease. Look into that.
Because COVID was, for me, like a rehearsal, a prova generale, how you can mobilize an organization and do the impossible possible against a main disease. We are after cancer and many other things.
I like that. COVID was just a rehearsal. Of course. Like, what are you rehearsing for? The next thing you launch? Yeah. But he says now he's looking forward to cancer. And I guess that can mean look for a little lab leak of cancer coming at you soon. But thank you, Alberto, for saying the quiet part out loud. And by the way, we know COVID was a rehearsal. And we know that you did rehearsals for that rehearsal. Event 201, ever hear of it, Alberto? No. Were you there? Oh, okay. And now for the 8th most insane liberal moment of the week, and my favorite. This award goes to former Speaker of the House and current Keeper of the Crypt, Nancy Pelosi. She was on the steps of the Capitol or wherever, and a reporter asked her, "Why didn't you send in the National Guard on January 6th?" Nancy snapped. And then we'll show you the receipts after this. Here we go.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day? Are you at all
The new January 6th committee, key word.
concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
Please notice this about our friend Nancy.
The National Guard on January 6th.
She has to be walked by people. Like, I get it. She has security around her. Not that she's a big deal, but she's in the role of a big deal office. So, you know, she has security around her. I get that. But these security guys are making sure, like, they're holding her hand. Like I would hold the hand of a 2-year-old, making sure they don't fall down. So that's not lost on me. Let's make sure we don't do any term limits. We need more crypt keepers in office. But let's hear her response to the question one more time before we see the receipts.
I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points?
I didn't refuse the National Guard. All right, Nancy. Well, you said different things on a different day. Let's take a look at that. Nancy Pelosi admits she was responsible for the National Guard on January 6th. I take responsibility for not having them. Just prepare for more.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have.
You also helped organize like 274 FBI agents in there to provoke the crowd. We're not talking about that on this car ride.
This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they have. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them. Just prepare for more.
Yep, her words. She takes responsibility for not having them, and many have asked, why didn't the National Guard get called in just for crowd control? And many say there were some insane people in control that made sure they weren't there. So whatever the 274 FBI agents in the January 6th crowd had planned could, well, better just happen. But nonetheless, that is the top most insane liberal moments of the week. Let me know which is your favorite. And if there's any that I miss, link to that or let me know what those are in the comments section. I'll look forward to seeing you in our next video. But until then, stay sane.